Oh, DJ. Oh. Good evening, Zantzi. It is 6 p.m., which means it's time for your Monday dose of Trending SA. Welcome, or Trending South Africa, as Mo Flavor would say. Welcome to the show. We have an amazing one lined up for you. My name is Refilwe, and today we are joined by the enchanting Chante Jantjies, and she'll be helping us unpack the trends throughout the show.
What?
Oh, Chante.
What's going on, Chante?
What an introduction. You're getting way too comfortable, hey?
I know.
We're just guests.
It's the air in this place. Isn't it amazing? Huh? Just suck it in.
So second week with us, and we're already having fun with you. So looking forward to the rest of the week.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one.
And my Blair over there looking so suave, so dapper.
I'm a cat.
All right, let's get into it. What are we looking at?
What we're doing right now?
Yeah.
We're doing top trends.
All right. So over the weekend, we learned of the passing of the renowned award-winning Scottish actor Sean Connery, who's known for his portrayal of the suave British licensed to kill agent. You've heard 007, you've heard that phrase. He uttered the iconic phrase Bond, James Bond, when he portrayed the character in the first Bond film. That was way back in 1962 in the classic Dr. No. And after 6 films with the franchise, Connery finally bid the character farewell with his unofficial Never Say Never Again. That was in 1983.
All right, so Connery paved the way for notable actors such as Pierce Brosnan, Roger Moore, Timothy Dalton, and Daniel Craig, who all brought something unforgettable to the character. With the news that Daniel Craig is finally hanging his Bond suit, Mmola is in line. I'm joking. So the question on everyone's lips is who is going to be the next James Bond?
Well, that is the burning question. And I mean, let's be honest, to be selected to play James Bond basically enables an actor to join this elite club of the Bond gang. And we, as a Trending SA, have decided to assemble some of the actors who have been, in our shortlist of those with that Bondesque charm. Let's get into it. It is Could Be Bond.
Who is our first?
Who do we have?
Would be or could be. By the way, I love how you made up an adjective.
John Boyega?
My answer is
you
no.
know?
Nope.
Getting Black Panther vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it James Bond or James Black? I don't know.
He's got the range. I'm going to say yes.
Nope.
Yeah.
Who's next? Nope, he looks like a surfer from Durban.
Yes,
I don't like
yes,
it.
every time. He's got the chops. He was a badass in Peaky Blinders. He was a badass in the Batman movie as Bane. Love me some Tom Hardy.
Who's next? Let's move.
But I mean, he needs no introduction.
You are blushing like he's your friend.
Really?
Guys, he just needs to breathe during the movie.
Oh,
he doesn't
my.
have to do anything. He's got the job. Yeah, it's a,
All right,
it's a yes
who's
from us.
next?
Spoken like a true fan.
Patel.
Chante, I feel like you're going to say what I feel.
Yeah.
No.
Girl, take it.
So I said this earlier, it's a no. He's not going to Sun City. He's not getting a golden ticket. He's not moving anywhere. It's a no. Goodbye. Please leave. It's a wrap.
Oh, come on.
You guys, I believe in transformation, and let's move on and let's bring in black actors there. For
I'm
me,
getting nervous.
Bond is either a Scottish man or an English man, and I'm sorry, guys. It's like how I don't want a white man playing Shaka Zulu.
Also, Dev Patel is English too.
No, I'm saying in English. I want you to look as like you used to say problematic things at Rez, like that blonde, blue-eyed boy that looks like they were racist and then they,
But what
came
is
around.
wrong with some chocolate?
No, then let's get.
I mean-
That's why we've got Black Panther. And we've
If
got
anybody
No.
was going to play the next
Wow.
Bond who's black, it would have to be Idris.
100%.
Think about it.
Yeah.
Guys, no.
Has
Right.
Mmola advocates for the ghettoization of the Bond characters. Now, this next story, speaking of messy, is getting messier by the minute. Over the weekend, I stumbled upon this tweet by Asha Komugisha. Take a look at this. It starts this way, going ridiculous.
No,
South Africa-
Refilwe, that
Yes.
ridiculous is in caps. Read it properly.
Ridiculous.
There we go.
Your Honor. South Africa's women's football team will line up at the COSAFA Women's Championship in covered-up Nike jerseys because SAFA's new French kit sponsor, Le Coq Sportif, made kits for only the men's team. That's via at Busisiwe Mokoena. This kind of disrespect must end.
All right,
Yo,
so the South African Football Association was quick to issue a statement to cover up their mess. Needless to say, it backfired. Take a look at the last line on the statement issued by the embattled sports body. They say, meanwhile, SAFA would like to reiterate that there is no federation that has done more to promote women's football like SAFA. We have just replaced a man and EC member with a woman, Miss Elizabeth Dikoka.
Sure.
Firstly, who were you channeling when you were reading that?
I was channeling an old
Someone
person that
in
does not want to
management.
leave a federation.
Okay, so speaking of someone in management that doesn't want to leave the federation, Chante, I feel like we've seen this movie before, right? We saw this when NASA couldn't launch an all-women team into space because they realized that they didn't have the right fitting uniform or spacesuits for women. Why are we pretending that we are not the other half of the population? Why?
100%. I mean, my view on this is I don't understand why in 2020 we are not having a look at this as a blanket approach.
Sure.
These are sports stars, they are soccer players, regardless
represent
of whether they are men or women, and they represent South Africa as a nation. I think that it's very unfair. I think it's disappointing to still be fighting for basic rights.
I mean, it's like bigger issues at SAFA. I mean, this whole situation, this whole cock-up, excuse the pun, is just a reflection of the bigger issues at SAFA.
Mrs. Dikoka?
I mean, at the rate things are going, you might as well take the Bafana kit and give it to the ladies.
No,
The thing is, it's not like they have to make a suits for like, or Antembi, no, and Cecilia. These are sportswomen, and there's no situation that's preventing them. Just make a standard kit and just give it out.
Sentela to sample size, guys. You got it done for the men. You can do it now. You're in the business of manufacturing.
We can do better. We can do better. All right, now after the break, it's been happening with the DA, and guess what? We continue with more trends, and this particular one, the talk of the town, the DA leadership, and we'll be chatting to Helen Zille. Up next, stay with us.
Yes.
Oh, come on, play.
Come on now. Come on, don't get me dancing. All right, so welcome back. You're still tuned into Trending SA, and we're still making rounds on your timeline. So John Steenhuisen, uvuligate, because John, we have to remind you, and emerged from the DA Federal Congress in the past weekend as the new DA leader with 80% of the votes, beating Balintuli, who only managed to get 20%. John's position on policies includes a smaller government, lower taxes, and a restriction on unions. His win was expected, as many people were already predicting that he, along with Helen Zille, would be who was re-elected as a federal council chairperson, would be the victors. So Twitter was quick on the pulse as the story developed. So John R. Lorima said this: congratulations to John Steenhuisen, Helen Zille, and the new DA leadership team. A fantastic result. And then there was Ibo Kanam, who added, my honest opinion as a member of the DA is that a vote for John is a vote of confidence in Helen Zille, and a vote of confidence for Helen Zille is a vote for the demise of our beloved party. So, we are Trending SA, and we had to bring on Miss Helen Zille to actually come through and answer for herself. She joins us via Skype. Welcome to the show.
It's great to be with you guys.
Thank you.
Hi, Helen. You're speaking to Chante. So my first question, or rather the question that I'd like to pose to you this evening, before the run-up to the Federal Congress that took place over this past weekend, there were reports and lots of critique that the DA as a party itself was not ready for a black leader. The DA positions itself as a party that is one for all of South Africans. What does this now mean that the four top management or leadership positions within the DA are all occupied by white people?
Well, I think you've been misinformed, because the party chairperson is a black person. The party's deputy federal chair, first deputy federal chair, is a black woman. And one of my deputies is a black man, and you must really get more reliable sources of information, because I don't know who's telling you these things. Don't get your news
for
from
lack of
Twitter,
a better
because
word, then
Twitter
the
is the most-
majority, for a lack of a better word, then the majority of the DA leadership as it stands.
Well, we're certainly not as uniracial as the ANC. The ANC's top 6 are all classified similarly. So the bottom line is we get people who can do the job, and many of them are black, many of them are not black. But we don't care about that, because we don't believe demography is dead. We believe that we want the best people for the jobs. And in fact, until very, very recently, I think it's still the case, 8 out of our 9 provincial leaders are black. So, let's relax about that.
Do you think the right person won?
Yes, I do.
And of course, there's a massive task to bring unity within the DA, because we've seen lots of divisions within the party. What do you say to that, to the role and the job at hand with you and John Steenhuisen?
Well, we'll get on with the job. We know how to do a job of work. I've inherited 2 spheres of government from the ANC that were a total mess, and I turned them around and fixed them. City of Cape Town and the province of the Western Cape. So I know how to deal with complex organizational challenges. I love them, in fact, so I'm up for the job. And John has been with the party since he was 19, an activist on the ground. He's done just about every job in the party and done it very well, so he earned his stripes.
What I'm really curious about is how you plan, I'm sure you've had lots of time to think about this, how you plan on clawing back lost ground when you look at our last general elections. And even to that point, Mo was talking about unifying the party internally. But how do you plan on also bringing people around to the party once again? And will your approach include your social media presence as we've understood it or seen it so far?
Well, John said that there are no shortcuts in politics, and he's absolutely right. And we've learned that the hard way. So we have to be very firm with our beliefs. We believe in non-racialism. We believe in constitutionalism. We believe in a market economy with safety nets for the very vulnerable. And we will continue preaching that message, because it is, frankly, in our view, the only way South Africa can work. So we will be true to our cause, and we will build more and more support for it, because in the end, being closer to the reality and closer to the truth actually matters. And over time, people get to understand that you were telling the truth.
All right.
History hasn't ended now.
All right. Helen, a lot of people are assuming that Mbali Ntuli would actually be leaving, to a prestigious university like Harvard. What's her position in the party after this weekend?
It's exactly what it always was. She chooses her destiny. If she wants to go to a university, that's up to her. If she wants to stay in the DA, she's very welcome. We believe that individuals make their own path in life. And Mbali is a very strong individual, and she will make her own path in life.
Helen Zille, thank you so much for your time this evening. And of
Come
course,
on, ask me some tough questions. Come on, Rafulwe.
my producer is shouting at us and asking us that, telling us that time is over. But perhaps we can do a training essay offline and talk to you about your social media presence and how you plan on maintaining that, and if it's going to be as problematic as it has been in the past.
Well, it depends if you think that speaking truth is problematic. I happen not to.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Ms. Helen Zille.
Right.
So what we're going to do right now is that we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we are joined by a formidable woman who has an incredible story about surviving GBV and her journey of healing. Don't miss it.
And of course, we must thank Chante for joining us in studio this evening. Much appreciated. It was cool to finally meet you in person.
Thank you so much for having me. Guys, they are as funny in real life, okay? It's not just on TV.
No, you didn't have to.
All right, see you this afternoon. Oh my goodness, welcome back to Trending SA. Just before we get to the credits start rolling, we do have one more thing lined up for you. I promise you it's not politics. It's time for My Life. Now, with 16 days of activism approaching, gender-based violence has been declared an epidemic in South Africa. Actress Shoki Mmola, who is popularly known for her role as Celia on the much-loved SABC1 soap Scheme Sum, lifted the lid on allegations of domestic abuse that she endured during her 10-year marriage. She's since become vocal about the traumatic effects that abuse had on herself and her children and why she eventually walked away. Tonight, she joins us in studio to talk about exactly that, the emotional and psychological effects of being in an abusive relationship. And we also talk about her journey to healing and survival. Shoki, thank you so much for your time this evening.
You know what? I need to do something. Otherwise, I can simply delegate when I get home.
Okay.
Hi, Oratile. Hi, Karabo. Hi, Ivo. Hi, Circle Team.
A big shout out.
Is that all?
Shoki, you know, you have been so vocal about talking about your life and your experience and what you endured in your marriage. One thing that struck me in reading about it is the fact that you said one of your biggest regrets was why you stayed so long.
Yeah.
Have you been able to process and metabolize exactly that regret, but also why did you stay so long? When did you flip that around and know you were ready to leave?
First, I would say I have forgiven myself. So I actually don't regret staying that long.
Sure.
I think it was necessary for me to stay that long at that time. It's something that I had to go through. Why did I stay that long? I had my girls, they needed to know their father. And who am I to take them away from him? They were the same reason that actually made me stay, actually is the same reason that made me leave.
Yes, interesting.
The love that I have for my girls. I want them protected. I don't want them growing up to hate men. I want them to love men. I want them to know that love is great. I love love. And I wanted them to experience it, even if it meant without their father inside.
Yeah. Shoki, your ex-husband got 2,000 rand bail.
Yes.
Right? So it's safe to say that justice system failed you. But how did you make peace of all of that and actually move on?
That broke me. Before I could make peace, I actually had to mourn the loss of that case that I felt was legit. I reported assault twice before I actually went to court for this one, for the last one that I actually went public with.
Yeah.
And for me to sit in that courtroom and listen to the judge saying he's a first-time offender, how many first times do you get? They really failed me. And I think that is a pain I will most probably carry. And it's the same pain that drives me to talk to other women that, it's okay. It's okay to talk about it. It doesn't make you look weak. It's actually the strongest that stay.
It is.
I will tell you something. Abuse knows no education.
No class.
It knows no class, no status. It just is there.
Yeah.
It manifests, it grows, and you live it.
It's really intense. It really, really is intense. I don't know if you want to go.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the other things, of course, is when you look at having to break away from that kind of relationship, because there's an element of codependency where you're almost enabling
but
this person.
But that's a theme of flavor.
To continue.
I did not depend on him. I actually worked 3 times harder at the time. I realized, I think 5 years into my marriage, that this marriage is not going to work. At that time, Oratile was there, Karabo was already there. Hence, I say they're the reason why I stayed. But I continued working. I asked for nothing. So, hence, I say it's not about the money. An abuser is clever. An abuser will go out there, they're forever in character. When they're with their friends, they're very nice people. They come into the house, you meet that monster. Now, the moment you go out there and you reach out to the friends and you say, look, this is actually happening in my life. Nobody believes you because you're crazy. How can such a nice person do this to you? You understand? So you stay. You stay. I did not have to stay, but I did.
So having said that, you're a public figure, and then your abuse was known in your close friends and people around you. As the public, we saw it when we saw Justice for Shoki. Do you feel like the people around you failed you?
Not really, no. And for other people that are also still in an abusive relationship, a toxic one, I would think even their circle of friends are also dealing with what my friends and my family had to deal with.
Which was?
It's you don't really know the full story. I come and I tell you my side of the story. My abuser is not here to tell you his side. There will always be that, are you really telling us the truth? Are you really being abused or you're overreacting? You're an actor, you're probably just acting. You see, but that's the thing. I'm not saying that is what my friends have done, but I understood when they did not want to get involved. I understood when they put themselves in a position where they didn't want to take sides. Sure. You must remember, the moment I got married to my ex-husband, I adopted his friends. I can't say he adopted my friends. Sure. Because my friends were then alienated because they're going to put ideas in my head.
That's problematic.
Exactly.
Very problematic.
So who are the immediate people to run to? It has to be his friends. Will I go? Of course I won't go. Yeah. You sit with it.
And we are going to continue the conversation on off air, but I want to ask you just this. Where are you now? I know you've mentioned the fact that your children did some work with the Teddy Bear Clinic, and they did incredible work.
Yes.
As well. Where are you guys?
The first step that I took, I'm glad I was proactive about the whole thing, because the moment my husband moved out, say he moves out today, the following day immediately I already signed up with a therapist. Sure. And all three of us, and the nanny, because the nanny was there when I almost died. Yeah. And we started seeing a therapist, and I think we're running out of time.
Are you in a good place?
I'm in a perfect place.
That's all.
I'm happy and my girls are happy.
And it's a work in progress, and that's the bottom line.
Oh yeah, work in progress with my notes and my work.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to continue this conversation on YouTube, so please do check that out. But as for tonight, we'd like to say thank you to Shoki for joining us, and it certainly was a very fascinating conversation. Thank you so much. Well, that's all we have for you tonight. Thank you very much for tuning in. Do join us tomorrow, though, as we continue the conversation on toxic masculinity with psychologist Ruth Ansir, as well as so much other incredible conversations we'll be having. I mean, she'll be helping us understand the psyche of a perpetrator and what happens to this destructive behavior that they have. Do not miss out on that. And also don't miss out on my radio show tomorrow morning.
What a shameless plug, Mo.
It's a shameless plug. It's the morning play on Metro, 5 to 9 a.m. See you tomorrow. Good night.
What a shameless plug.